Welcome to Spotlight. I'm your host, Jane Wernette. Today I'm joined by two local nonprofits, the DuPage Children's Museum and the Finance Compass. We also head out on location to Little Friends.
Today's Spotlight is brought to you in part by presenting sponsor Intention Financial Partners, empowering you to plan intentionally and live generously.
You're watching Spotlight, and joining me now from the DuPage Children's Museum are Jenny and Dustin, and it's so nice to have you both here. I'm excited to chat all things kids and museums. So, Jenny, I'm going to start out with you. What's this DuPage Children's Museum, and what are you trying to accomplish for kids and family?
Oh, thanks for having us, Jane. At the DuPage Children's Museum, we are all about learning through play. Every exhibit and experience that we create is really grounded in one simple but really powerful idea that children learn best when they're engaged. So when they're exploring and experimenting or building, making, and tinkering, our exhibits and experiences are really designed to support children in building their critical skills for their future, like problem solving and learning how to work with others and building their confidence so that they see themselves as being able to do science, engineering, art, and math. I think that's one of the things that really sets us apart and makes us a special place. What on the surface might seem like it's just play is actually intentionally designed research-based learning experiences. And we like to say that play is our brain's favorite way to learn, and we really lean into that at DuPage Children's Museum. So when children and families come to visit, they're learning new things, they're making mistakes, having fun together and playing, and ultimately making connections about the world around them in a way that is joyful and empowering to them.
Yeah, when you're happy, you're more likely to be learning,
Absolutely.
Right? And that's a big part of it. Dustin, how are you building learning into all of the things that you have at the museum?
Yeah, that's right. We're really intentional about how we build our spaces. So children are learning all kinds of things while they're at the museum. Social, emotional learning, they're there with these friends, but they also have tons of peers around them learning and playing. It's gross and fine motor skills. It's early math and science concepts. There's just so much there. And as Jenny was saying with this play, when we start with this playful foundation, it all becomes so joyful and it's fully engaged learning. And then our exhibits team does such a phenomenal job of, again, having those outcomes in mind, those learning outcomes in mind. So as you're going through the museum, you can really see your kid lighting up and that light bulb over their head and how much they're getting from that experience. And it's not just play. I think play is this word that we kind of throw around and can feel a little frivolous. But to us, we know that play is learning and the most important part of a childhood.
Yeah, and they keep coming back, and I think that's something I want to ask you about, Jenny. I mean, I've taken my grandson there, and he'll keep going back to different exhibits differently than he went the time before. So is that repetition intentional?
Absolutely. Repetition and repeated visits are incredibly important. And learning starts at a very, very young age. And as Dustin mentioned, our intentional design of our exhibits we do it in a way where children grow up and our exhibits grow with them. I like to think about how every time a child comes to the museum, they're a different kiddo. They've learned new things, they've had new experiences, and so they interact with our exhibits with that new frame of thinking about the world. And our exhibits are designed to foster children at every age and stage that they're at to deepen those meaningful connections.
Okay, I love that, because when you say they're a different kid every time they come back, that totally makes sense, right? And particularly if you take a young child at 2 and then at 3, there's light years difference in terms of their experience. Dustin, talk a little bit about some of the programs that you have at the museum.
Yeah, we have so many exciting programs. We really do a great job of making sure we have programs for all ages and all interests. So the Artist in Residence program is a chance for families to connect with professional artists and do the work right there with them. And then we have a Tiny Great Performance series where we have music and dance and all kinds of live performances.
Which is great for the kids to see, because they see other kids doing that. I love that part.
That's right. So in all kinds of interactive programs, I think that then we also have special programs for like scout groups. Our STEAM labs are a great opportunity for them to kind of explore the museum at a different level and be a part of those programs. And then we have a play group where our youngest visitors can come with their caregivers and be in a supportive, welcoming environment and get that first taste of the museum.
Oh, that's nice. Now, and you also have something called Tinkering Camp.
Yeah,
which
that's
I kind
right.
of like that. Tell me more on that.
Yeah, and Tinkering Camp might be our most exciting program. So as soon as school ends, all summer long, we have our summer Tinkering Camp. And it's really a chance for kids to explore and kind of break out of that school mode where they're maybe it's a little more didactic or they're on a timeline, and really have that chance to explore and make all kinds of amazing things. So each week has a little bit different theme, whether it's engineering or art themed. And really every week we make so many amazing things, and the kids are so great at making friends. And then there's so much collaboration and peer learning that happens there. It's a really exciting and wonderfully joyful summer.
Yeah, and talk a little bit about that, because I think and you talked about the collaborating, and the little I know about child development, they sort of start with that parallel play, right, and then it is fostering how do they connect together, right, and then that's a lot of what you're seeing.
Yeah, that's right. I think we always see social emotional learning at the museum, but especially during summer camp, there it is kind of amped up because. They're together all day, and they're maybe, have a couple of friends there, but they're really learning how all these different kids approach the same project and seeing how they use the materials. So it really creates this really rich environment. And again, when you start with play, it makes it so fun too. There's so much learning happening, but I can't even begin to describe the joy of 8 weeks of summer camp.
Yeah, that's well, and that's good. And then they will remember it, right?
That's right.
Jenny, I know, we've talked a little bit here and before about the amount of programming that happens within the four walls of the museum, but you're also out in the community. You do a lot of work outside those four walls. Say more.
Yes, we do. As a museum, we really value community connections, and we know that play and playful learning is such a critical opportunity for children and families, but we also know that not every family can have access to the museum for a whole host of barriers. And we take that really seriously. And so we are constantly pushing ourselves as a museum to think, how can we go beyond the walls and meet families where they are in their communities? Whether that's in a classroom through our Learning Lab program, or adding a pop of STEAM to a library event at a community event, or building capacity within our partners to be able to deliver their own high quality STEAM learning at their organization through Wonder Clubs. We take that very seriously and think deeply about how are we providing access so that every child has the opportunity to engage in playful discovery and learning.
Yeah, so what do you hope that families take away from a visit?
Oh, wow. I hope that they feel inspired and energized and feel like they've had a chance to connect with one another. I feel like our museum is an opportunity to take a break from the world around us and be able to just play and have an opportunity to connect with loved ones. And as Dustin has mentioned, our exhibits are intentionally designed to have something for everyone, to explore curiosity and to walk away with some new wonderings and aha moments. And so I hope that families come and visit us and get a chance to experience that for themselves. Dustin,
anything to add to that?
Well, I think that Jenny nailed it. I think that when you come to the museum, you really find and share in that joy. It is something that we all need in our lives, right? There's these joyful, playful moments in connecting with our family and connecting with our community. It doesn't get much more meaningful or important than that.
Oh, that's great. Thank you so much for coming by. We really appreciate it.
Thank you for having us.
If you would like to learn more about the DuPage Children's Museum, please go and visit their website. We're going to take a quick break, but stay tuned. We're coming right back with more Spotlight.
Today's Spotlight is brought to you in part by presenting sponsor Intention Financial Partners, empowering you to plan intentionally and live generously. Today's Spotlight is brought to you in part by presenting sponsor Intention Financial Partners, empowering you to plan intentionally and live generously.
So Mike, thanks so much for having me out at Little Friends. It's really great to be in the space. And I think for our viewers, let's just talk big picture Little Friends. What's it all about? What do you do here?
So first and foremost, welcome. It's great to have you here, and I'm glad that you have the chance to show the viewers what we do here at Little Friends. From an organizational standpoint, we help children and adults and their families that are dealing with intellectual and developmental disabilities and autism. We provide a variety of services that start with children as young as age 3 and go all the way through literally an adult's end of life. The breadth of services is probably as broad as anything in the state of Illinois. When you look at all the things that we do, next door is our Center for Autism, where we do therapies for children and young adolescents. Behind the wall here and where we're sitting is our 2 different therapeutic day schools. And with that also, next door is our adult center that provides adult day programming, as well as our touchdown space for our residential properties, where we have, I think at this point now, 48 homes that are currently in use, with 49 scheduled by the middle of 2026. What's also over there are employment services. We host our Respite Family Service, Family Fun Club, and Respite Families programming. And we also have offsite the Illinois Independent Living Center, which provides support for individuals with physical disabilities. All told, a whole lot of stuff with actual intentions to do more in the not too distant future.
Okay, and let's talk a little bit about that, because I think one of the things that we've often talked about is the fact that it's not just about a young child with autism and providing services to them. It really is, what I love what you say, all the way through end of life, right? Because that's a diagnosis that stays with you. Give us some specific examples, Mike, if you would, of some of the programs and how they're serving, like as you think about the things that are maybe new or things that you've been doing for decades.
It's an interesting question, and there's a lot of different things that are there. But when you look at the challenges that we try to address, big picture, our work is really focused on trying to help an individual be more independent than what they may be able to be. And then the other thing is really focusing on quality of life and for the individuals that we serve. And as you begin to look at each individual program and how we execute those things, the therapies that we provide, particularly for children, maybe help them be able to not only cope, but communicate and be able to do those things. The private therapeutic day school can be multiple tracks, one of which can be just developing life skills, and again, being able to be in a point where they're able to be as independent as possible. And the others might be developing skill sets that they may be able to take into an employment situation and being prepared for that. The adult programming that we have not only provides for quality of day and what we hope is a meaningful day in terms of what they do, but also we provide residential support where we're literally taking care of individuals on a 24/7 basis. Yeah. The things that I think that are really kind of cool about what we do is that we acknowledge and understand that the needs of the people that we serve are unique, and that not everybody has the same thing. And what we have, because of the breadth of services, is the ability to adapt and utilize the resources that we have in place to help address what we're trying to do, related specifically to quality of life and helping an individual be more independent.
Yeah, and you've been very innovative in that space. Talk a little bit about how the community can come alongside you, because it takes a village. I know you have a big village out here on this campus, but talk about how the community can help you, Mike.
So that's a great question. So big picture, we employ 380 people, but there are a lot of other individuals that help us. If you think just in terms of the fact that an organization like ours and others in the community, we survive with financial support from a donation standpoint. So clearly the very first thing would always be, well, you could always provide financial support if you're inspired by the work that we do. There's also volunteer opportunities where we provide different things, particularly our Respite Family Services and our Fun Club activities for young adults. There are opportunities where people can donate their time and provide support and do that. But I think the other thing that's kind of quiet in the background that I would like to speak to is the importance of people knowing what we do as an organization. And if you ever find yourself where you're comforting or with a person, a family member who finds out that they've got someone who needs special services, just knowing that an organization like Little Friends is in their backyard and in the community, I think is something that's incredibly powerful. And I would hope that just having that information, knowing that we're here and being able to say, hey, look down the road because they may be able to help you, and knowing that we have a breadth of tools at our open hands to be able to provide support for someone. So
yeah, and it is being able to give that reference. I mean, knowledge is power. So if you have that knowledge of resources that can be useful maybe to your own family or to others, that's a really good thing, and it's driving that awareness, right?
It is. You know, if you envision that you're as a parent, when you find out that you need your child has special needs, you're at a point where you don't know where to go. And at times you're looking for who's that trusted resource that can be of service. Well, we've been around for over 60 years now, and I would hope that our work demonstrates that we can be a trusted resource and can help them in those times that maybe provides peace of mind later.
Well, let's talk about the long-term plan. As far as expansion, you've certainly, in this amazing location, done a lot of expansion since you moved this way. What have you got on the docket?
So within the past year, we've opened up a behavioral health clinic next door in the facility that we acquired at the end of 2022 and opened in 2023. So we've now opened up the behavioral health clinic. We had a tenant that occupied 20,000 square feet. And one of the things that we've decided that we want to do that's a big initiative is the whole idea of really enhancing and improving our work with whole person care.
Yeah, that's exciting. Should we go take a look?
Absolutely. Let's
do
that.
All right, let's do it.
Okay.
So Mike, I had no idea there was all this space back behind here, and it's expansive. So say a little bit, describe your vision.
Okay, so we're really excited. We've got about 20,000 square feet that currently is now available to us to be able to be used in any way that we want to do. And so the three worst experiences that we've been told by parents that have children on the spectrum is going to the doctor, going to the dentist, and getting a haircut. And so the idea is that we would utilize this physical space for a medical clinic, of which we are working with Endeavor Health to be able to make that happen. Work with a dentist, of which we still don't have somebody identified yet, but we'd love to have somebody that would want to open up a dental clinic here in the physical space, and then open up a hair salon and be able to do those three things. This is an exciting time, and even with all of the challenges that we all see and hear about and everything, I really believe that this is the right thing to do, and we're dedicated and committed to making it happen.
Well, thank you for doing it in our community. We appreciate you.
You bet it. Thanks so much.
Today's Spotlight is brought to you in part by presenting sponsor Intention Financial Partners, empowering you to plan intentionally and live generously.
Want to get more eyes on your business while supporting Naperville's nonprofit TV station? Advertise on nctv17.org, which draws more than 120,000 visits a month with the latest and trusted news and action-packed sports. Or put an ad in NCTV 17 News Update, an email sent to over 5,000 subscribers every Monday through Friday. Visit nctv17.org/advertising for details.
Today's Spotlight is brought to you in part by presenting sponsor Intention Financial Partners, empowering you to plan intentionally and live generously.
If you're just tuning in, you're watching Spotlight. I'm your host, Jane Wernette, And joining me now from the Finance Compass is Neil. Good to have you back with us, Neil.
Yes, great to see you again, Jane. It doesn't even feel like it's been a year.
It surely does not, right? And so I want to talk, because I'm excited to hear what you've been doing this last year. But before we kick that off, let's talk a little bit about what your mission is. What are you here to do?
Right. So as a high school student, growing up in the Naperville area, I've been involved in a lot of math-based extracurriculars my entire life. My parents would put me in pretty much everything there was math-related. That would be after-school tutoring, math competitions, math clubs, you name it. And I started to wonder, how does math actually apply to our real world? I was doing so many problems and started to think, where does this fit in to our world? So that's when I kind of dabbled into one of math's real applications to the world, which is finance. Over COVID, I picked up an interest in finance. I started my own investing portfolio. And then I remember when we got back to school after I'd done all this finance research and investing, none of my friends knew what I was talking about. It was very kind of a niche topic that I was interested in, especially for 5th and 6th graders. So that's when I started to realize, hey, these skills are kind of important, especially as I got older, and it's not really something that's touched on in schools. So that's the whole premise behind the Finance Compass, and towards the end of middle school, I developed a course, a personal financial literacy course, and I started teaching it to local nonprofits in the area. And after great reception, great collaboration with people in the community, that's when we decided, hey, this would kind of do better under the title of a nonprofit organization.
Okay.
So then in June of 2024 is when I founded the Finance Compass, and our goal is to just fill that gap in financial literacy. We do so by partnering with a variety of organizations, targeting youth across all demographics. And in the last, I'd say about 2 years, we've taught over 2,400 students in 5 countries around the world. And, super excited to keep that growth going. And it's amazing to see that the impact that we've already had.
Well, and I know you do both local and you talk about international. You're doing that virtually then? So you're teaching it virtually to other places around the world.
Right. So we like to tailor our services very much to whoever it is that we're working with. So for example, if we're working with a after-school drop-in center locally in Naperville, we'd bring a couple team members in person and teach the kids that are there. But when you're working with an international school, like let's say in China, India, whatever it may be, then we would set up an online webinar for students to attend while they're in class, and usually it's a larger cohort of students. We can provide both services, both virtually and in person.
Okay. Now, what do you see? I mean, obviously you're in the early stage of your nonprofit, but what do you see as your greatest need for your mission?
Right. So as I had mentioned, financial literacy is very rarely covered or emphasized in our school curriculum. In fact, Illinois is one of 15 states in the US that currently doesn't mandate any personal finance education in our schools. And that's something that we're trying to fill the gap in. So I'd say awareness of the importance of financial literacy is just a really big thing, especially with financial literacy. Those skills are often carried on through generations. So if one member of a family is able to empower themselves with that knowledge and that education, it is so powerful to everyone in their circle, really.
Yeah, and I think oftentimes, we think about learning, and it's always easier to learn. The younger you are, oftentimes it's easier to learn, right? So if you're, sort of thinking about that financial literacy later in life, you've missed some good learning years, right?
Right.
A little bit like money, time value of money. It's the time value of knowledge.
No, for sure. I mean, everyone is in a classroom at some point, or most students are. So rather than trying to set up a workshop where people have to sign up to attend or register to attend, if you go directly into a school classroom and target those younger students, kids are already there. So you're guaranteed to make a more significant impact where you can reach more people's minds.
Yeah. So now give me a story, Neil, something that you've experienced in this past year that says to you, I'm really on the right track here. This is really meaningful.
Right. So one of the new things we started this year was a program called Money Moves. And I'm a competitive dancer, kind of not to go off on a tangent here, but I'm a dancer. I've been a dancer for the last 6 or so years. And I started to think, how can I combine these two very separate worlds, dance and finance, that I'm interested in? And that's when we created Money Moves. So what we do is, this past summer, we went to a local dance studio in Aurora that targets primarily low income and families and students from very underrepresented backgrounds. So what we do is half of the session was a financial literacy workshop, And then the second half of the session was a dance class that I got to teach. And I think that was just really powerful, kind of a combination of the two interests. It was a very unique workshop to begin with, but I was super happy to see, this group of kids that I'm very similar to that love to dance, and being able to bring those skills to them, I think was super powerful.
Yeah, you kind of got a twofer there. Yeah.
For sure, yeah.
Now, partnering with other organizations, say a little bit about that and what your efforts are in that area.
Right, so we really rely on community support and community-driven organizations to further our mission. I mean, when we partner with other organizations, let it be schools, after-school centers, youth sports teams, libraries, whatever it may be, we're really looking for synergies within our missions. So a lot of the organizations that we partner with are very youth-focused. What happens is, if they're an in-person organization, like I mentioned, like a school, for example, we would go directly into classrooms and teach the kids there. This past year, actually in December, what we did is we partnered with the Aurora Financial Empowerment Center and also East Aurora School District 131. And we were able to go into 14 freshman classrooms and teach over 300 students a 45-minute workshop on financial literacy. And it was super fun, super engaging. And I think that's when we realized this is the way to go, is getting into those schools, since you can reach the most people. And I think that collaboration was so important. It really opened my eyes to see how many students there are out there that can benefit from this. So looking forward, we do have future plans to potentially do more with District 131 and the Financial Empowerment Center. So I'm really looking forward to that in the upcoming year.
Okay, and as we think about that, is that your thing that you're most excited about in the new year, or what else have you got on the horizon as we look at 2026?
Right, so as I've said, I feel like the foundation of our organization is partnering with others and finding those synergies in our missions. What drives us to really spread financial literacy and further that initiative. So what I'm looking forward to most is just continuing to expand in the community, partnering with more schools, touching more people's minds. Whoever it may be, if you have a group of students, we are more than happy to work with them and give them a free workshop on financial literacy, since that's what we're all about. We want to make financial literacy as accessible as possible. So we really love to reach anyone that we can. So really that's what I'm looking forward to most, is just the new connections that we're able to form this year. Because again, this network of organizations we have here in Naperville and local cities is just phenomenal. And I think it's amazing that we have each other's backs and we're able to help each other, leverage each other's resources, and ultimately further our missions.
Takes a village, right?
Yes,
yes.
for sure.
Well, I think with your energy and enthusiasm, I think when I see you next year, it'll be even more, right?
For sure, yes.
Thank you so much for coming by. We so appreciate not only the work that you're doing, but the passion that you bring to it, Neil.
Thank you so much, Jane. I appreciate that.
Absolutely. And to find out more about the Finance Compass, please go and visit their website. I'd like to thank all of my guests for joining us on Spotlight, and our friends at Intention Financial Partners for their generous sponsorship of today's show. To learn more about the organizations featured on this episode, please go and visit our website at nctv17.org. And to stay informed about what's happening in our community, sign up to receive our daily news update and like and follow us on social media. For Spotlight, I'm Jane Wernette. Thank you for watching.
Today's Spotlight is brought to you in part by presenting sponsor Intention Financial Partners, empowering you to plan intentionally and live generously.